Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Recover a Deleted User Object in Active Directory, courtesy of ScriptLogic's Active Administrator. Once again, welcome to today's session. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is bring up a server running Active Administrator. Now, when dealing with recovering restoration objects, the first thing I would do from an Active Administrator configuration standpoint is bring up the Server Configuration Wizard. When you bring up the Server Configuration Wizard from a backup standpoint, all you're really doing is deploying a backup service to the Active Administrator server, and you're telling that backup service how often you want to back up Active Directory, either once or twice. And keep in mind, we're backing up Active Directory objects. And where do you want to store those backup files? So now I'm going to bring up my Active Administrator console. I'm going to go to my Security and Delegation field. The first thing I will do is expand my domain infrastructure, and I have an OU here with 4 users. I will delete this organizational unit. So now that I've deleted that organizational unit and those 4 users are deleted out of Active Directory, well, what happens if I was running Server 2003 and I wanted to restore these accounts? Well, I would start bringing up a command prompt, and I would either do an authoritative restore of Active Directory on a domain controller, or I can start using the NTDS utility to start restoring the user objects. Then I would have to add group memberships and attributes all later. That could be very time-consuming, especially if there were many users deleted. Well, what happens if I was running Server 2008 R2? I've heard about great things with the Recycle bin. It's true. Well, 2 ways I can do it in 2008 R2. I could bring up the LDP tool, bring up a command prompt, and start trying to restore the objects from the Recycle bin at that point. The only real advantage that you're gaining is it restores the attributes as well as group memberships, but I'm still doing it through a command prompt, user by user. Or I can take advantage of Windows PowerShell commandlets, something like get AD object user, and start coding in PowerShell scripting through a command line. Well, if that doesn't seem too informative, too easy, or quick, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Recovery tab in Active Administrator. I have my backups occur once a day at 12 o'clock. You will see dynamic times here, like 7:59. Well, anytime the Active Administrator server is rebooted, we automatically take a backup of Active Directory. But in this case, my backup did occur for today. I'm going to bring up my most recent available archive. I can simply browse to it. Now I can look for individual objects if I needed to, restore individual objects. But in this case, since it was an accidental deletion, I am just going to choose the OU. And inside of that OU, I'm going to restore and all objects it contains. Well, maybe there were 4 or 5 users within that I didn't know who was deleted. Maybe the OU wasn't deleted. Maybe just 4 or 5 users were deleted. So how about we only restore deleted objects? Manage passwords. We can recover the passwords from Active Directory. It requires either Windows 2003 Service Pack 1 and password recovery to be enabled with the Active Administrator Forest Prep utility. We are not making a schema modification with this. The schema piece is already there. All we're doing is turning on a switch. Or maybe we want to use a password specifically for undeleted user objects, or simply generate a random password, or force a changed password at the next logon. But in this case, once again, since it was an accidental deletion, maybe it wasn't an accidental deletion. Maybe somebody went in and restored or changed an attribute in large bulk quantity. We could choose simply to restore only the attributes that are associated with those user accounts. Well, but in this case, we're going to choose to restore all attributes. Maybe I would want to preview all of this information going on before I actually click the button to restore. But in this case, I feel pretty confident when I click the button Restore. A secondary window comes up at this time, and it's starting to restore the objects. I counted. It was 6 seconds. So in 6 seconds, I restored 5 objects. What are those 5 objects? Well, I'm going to go with the fact the organizational unit and 4 user accounts. So let's simply close that. I'm going to go back to my security and delegation. We'll do a refresh at the domain level. I'll expand the domain level. Here is AA Restore is back with all 4 users. And let's not forget, the passwords for all 4 users with all of their attributes are associated back with it. So very easy to be able to restore users in Active Administrator 5.6. Once again, Active Administrator 5.6 and User Object Restoration. Maybe I would have wanted to be alerted on any of these specifics happening also. Maybe an organizational unit being deleted. Okay, I would set up OU's deleted, an action, an email address that I want to be associated with, and the event. So this way I could be alerted on the object being deleted and then use Active Administrator to simply restore the object. I counted 5 objects in 6 seconds. Not too tough. Once again, Active Administrator 5.6 to restore and recover all deleted objects in Active Directory. Once again, contact ScriptLogic at sales@scriptlogic.com or call 1-800-813-6415. Thanks for your time today.